Okay, Steve at Let's Golf in Hawley today. I'm at my base camp, so let's talk about this short video, and this is going to be one of the simple step series. So this is going to be about one of many simple step series that I'm going to do, but this is going to touch on some basics in gaining distance. So we're going to talk about club speed. Okay, simple steps to increase distance. So how are we going to get speed through this golf club? Okay, so number one tip, the first step in this series is width. What is width? It's the distance from the midpoint of the handle. You can see from my grip here between the black and the red. Let's use that as a reference point. That's going to be the middle of my hands. It's making sure that I retain this width throughout my golf swing. I don't want to be narrow in it or bringing it closer to me, because that's going to shorten the arc the club head is traveling on. So I want to get this club in a circle around my body, on a tilted circle, a wide circle, because that's going to give me the ability to apply speed through the club head on a longer, wider circle. Okay, so backswing width, the middle of the handle away from the chest. Okay, so you can see it from this view here. So that may well mean that you might need to shorten your golf swing, because you might not have the ability in your spine to rotate the same as somebody else. Okay, so some of you might be able to retain this width and swing it high over your shoulder. Okay, you can see the width is here. It's not behind my ears as you see from the camera there. It's nice and high. If you don't have the back flexibility to rotate that much and lift your arms that high and extend your spine, then you may well shorten the swing. You can see the handle, if I was standing in a clock face here, it'd be about 9 o'clock, wouldn't it? So that handle is still the same distance away from me as the other demonstration that I showed you. Okay, so width, number one. Number two is the correct wrist action. Okay, so my wrists, and if you go back to the Back to Basics series and have a look at wrist actions and how the wrists hinge, the primary action with the wrists is a wrist cocking action. So I'm going to have this club head moving towards my right shoulder here, my trail shoulder. I'm going to allow the club to move into my fingers in my hands, okay? Shouldn't be, if you're struggling to let the club move into your fingers, that must mean there's an issue with your grip, and you can refer to some of my other videos on grip. Grip it in the fingers, make sure that you have that club as you cock the wrists on the right angle there, as you can see, that really strong angle. Just make sure the club falls into the fingers. And that's one of the secrets here, is that if I allow that correct wrist hinge, I can gain some extra lag in the club head. Okay, so, and that's going to give me the ability then to unhinge the wrists at the right time as I release the club, and allow the club head to travel to the golf ball on the right angle to reach the bottom. The ball will then contact the club face in the right point, and then exchange energy, off it goes into the distance. So a good wrist hinge. That's point number two, step number two. The third one in this series is turn, okay? So how much you rotate, and that is you rotating through your spine. The segments, the three sections of your spine, the LT and C sections of your spine, they are like, almost like cogs, I like to describe them, and they're going to be twisted. They've got movements and they can move around, but we want to really sort of coil up that spine right up through into the neck. So we're going to make sure that we have, by moving our head, okay, because we need to move the cervical section of the spine. The head must turn to the right to allow me to make a good turn with the upper body. Okay, my feet are going to move around to allow me to make a good turn with my lower body, in particular my pelvis. So my head is going to turn to the right as I look at the ball out of my left eye, and that's going to allow me to make a good turn, to turn my back towards the target. I'm going to lift my left foot a little bit up, so the heel's going to come off the ground to allow me to make a good turn with my lower body. So head to the right, use your feet correctly to generate and turn the full amount that's required to help you swing that club nice and wide on the backswing. Okay, so the last step in this particular video is how the handle travels. We're not going to talk too much about the downswing because that will be some other videos that I will also be doing. But as we come into the golf ball, it's important that you understand that as the club head travels down to meet the golf ball, the handle of the club is moving up as my body rotates out of the way. So the club head is going down, the handle is going up as my left side, my lead side, is pulling out of the way, almost pulling the grip off the shaft. The correct wrist hinge allows you to bring the club down to the golf ball. Okay, so as my wrists are unhinging, my left shoulder, left side is extending up and behind me to allow me to release the club right through to that full finished position. There you go. So that's the simple step series in distance and increasing the club speed. Enjoy and happy golfing.